ladies, gentlemen. I just got back from my run, and I love running. Fires me up. It's beautiful out there, trees and a breeze, and that's all I need. Yeah, life. It's curious, energy. While I was out there running, and I was talking to myself. It's natural. I do it all the time, and um, I was thinking about the depths of a lot of problems and issues in the world, and it's not even with the world so much as with each of us individually. A lot of the problems that we see on a global scale are things that we can find on a local level as well, just a much larger manifestation. It's like if we have major problems in the world, it's a good chance that the people are also having problems, whether it's mental, emotional, and economical. It could be a lot of them, but they're consistent, or with each other. They're equal, because it's energy. Everything in the world is energy. Even currency is energy. And the Japanese even had this beautiful idea that they always taught, and it was, there was like three sources of power, or three sources of energy, and one was of the sword, one was of the jewel, and one was of the mirror. The sword is the power from weapons. That's intimidation. That's fear. That is a power. That is a power that we see often in a lot of countries, especially right now with the threats of nuclear war and bombs and guns, and that's always been a threat. But it's not a good energy source because it's negative. It hurts people, it harms people, it drives people into a low emotional state and a fear state, which is unsustainable and tragic. We all know this at a fundamental level because we're all energetic beings. We all know energy in our subconscious because it runs all of us. It runs our entire world. Energy is everywhere. And so when our energy is driven by such a low, negative, toxic fear state, such as, control by force, if you will, it does work for energy and for moving if you have the guns, right? So it becomes a power struggle, but it's not the one that they cared about in Japan, but it is one of them. And then the next one was the jewel, which is money, right? And this was wealth. This is also an energy source that is more or less coercion. You can buy people. You can convince people by giving them this idea of wealth, money, power, fame. This is another energy source that can manipulate a lot of people or control a lot of people and direct a lot of people because, well, how many people work for money? How many people do things for money? There's always that question I hated my entire life, but it came around forever and it still goes around forever. What would you do for $1 million? And it just shows how many of us actually are on a path of life simply directed by that source of power. Once again, that comes down to like the hierarchy structure, right? Power, and that you're looking for the top. Weapons will get you there, money will get you there. But that's also one that the Japanese didn't really push. The one they cared most about, the one that they thought was the most powerful, was of the mirror, which is self-knowledge. And this is what I'm trying to get everybody into, because we all lose so much energy by those other two sources, right? When we dictate our lives by power, by fame, when we run our lives by the need, by dependence on something outside of ourselves, which is a weapon, which is money, that's outside of ourselves. We are dependent. And that means our energy, we are consumers, right? We are in need of energy, so we consume, and that's why we have to use a gun or a weapon to obtain energy, or we have to use money and wealth to buy or obtain energy. But the thing is, with self-knowledge, the mirror, when you can dive deep into who you are and into yourself, well, then you learn how to create energy. And when you can create energy, you have nothing to worry about. You are literally fearless and just so comfortable in your own skin, and you are in love with life, and you can do anything, and your mind is like so blown apart because you're like, my limitations are gone, and the universe is infinite, and everything around me is abundant, and all the possibilities and all the art and the things to think is just endless, and this is incredible. But a lot of times we don't get to that state because we are stuck in some other state. And this is because of energy leaks. You know, within all of us, at some point in time of our life, we have energy leaks. You know, as any equipment or life is lived, and it goes on and it goes through things and it moves, and you know, things break, things deteriorate, things are used for the wrong purposes, you know, like and they get used and abused, and we all get thrown through loops. But we can fix and repair anything and everything. But now you have to think on, how do you do that? Well, once again, you have to have power, right? So if you had guns, well, then you would have power, and you could get other people to do it for you. Or if you had money, well, then you had power, and you could buy it, and you could get other people to do it for you. Or you could learn how to do it yourself, and then you could just not worry about a thing, because you don't need the other two things that are external. You have everything you need, and it's on the inside, right? But these energy leaks, they happen. And we see them in so many different things. The best way I can express this in this moment is, if anything happens in your life that you do not love, absolutely love, that is like a check engine light in your car, right? It is an indicator, a warning that you have something within yourself that you can fix or repair. You know, it shows us that we know the horsepower of our engine, right? But when that check engine light is on, there is something that is holding that energy back. You know, it's limiting your horsepower. It's cutting it back. It will not function. It will not run as efficiently and powerfully as it could run if it has these faulty parts, if it has these weak parts. And if we are strong enough, brave enough to dive in and rip ourselves apart at times to fight our ego and all this other shit, because, you know, you can run, your vehicle can run a long time with that check engine light on. You don't have to do a thing about it. You know, a lot of people, you put tape over the friggin' so you don't have to look at the light, right? And it makes you feel a little bit better.